Are you sick of playing jungle and not being able to influence the game enough, particularly in the early game? I'm about to show you something you can do in the first 3 minutes of the game to influence your jungle matchup, your top lane matchup, and your mid lane matchup, which are arguably the three most important matchups in the meta at the moment. So you can do this in your first 3 minutes of the game, and it all starts with the basic jungle trick of using your yellow trinket and putting it somewhere deep in the enemy jungle, ideally, that is a high traffic area or that can potentially show you vision. In this situation, I'm using it to actually get vision because I want to start at the enemy's red buff. Typically, when you're versing a Kayn, they should actually start here, but in lower elos, a lot of them tend to kind of come into here. So this is a particularly useful strategy for players in anywhere from iron to platinum. You can get away with this, 9 times out of 10 in your games. You can pretty much steal the enemy red if you're blue side and steal the enemy blue if you're red side. So I go in, I swap to a sweeper, so I have my sweepers for my next couple of ganks if I need to. And what I do is I steal the red buff, ultimately disrupting my opponent, so disallowing them their own red. And obviously they can go and get my red once I show myself, but this is something that just throws them off, puts them off their gank path, and what it does is it sets me up for a really easy gank top lane. So as you can see, I'm already shifting and moving and attack walking the red buff over to the lane I want to gank, because I can see that Sion is already in a really bad position and Darius is playing it really well. So Darius knows that I'm doing red and that I'm going to come level 2 because I flagged it to him in the chat before the minions spawned. And now, just to confirm it, I ping a couple of times. And what I do is, I don't rush. I wait here, and I wait for Darius to push Sion, or for Sion to go for one of these minions. And what happens? Sion goes for the minion, I immediately start tracking, and now Sion is in big trouble. So he has nowhere to go because I'm blocking here, and Darius is blocking here. So Sion either has two options, flash or die. And he does the smart thing, and he flashes this one, so that's all good there. And what I do is I burn the top lane flash in the first 2 minutes of the game. Now, most times when you do a gank like this, you want to immediately go back to your jungle camps and start farming. And right now, I know now that Kayn is going to go steal my red. And that's fine. I've done this whole setup and assumed that Kayn is going to take my red. If he doesn't, he's a really bad jungler. So I am already under the assumption that my red buff is lost. I don't care, because what I'm doing is I'm immediately going from his red buff to top lane to the enemy mid lane to immediately burn a flash. And here we go. I don't even get any damage off in this gank. All I do is show a presence. And what happens in top lane while I'm already on my second gank? Darius has now just gotten first blood on the lane I ganked in the first 2 minutes, only having to burn Ghost because Sion doesn't have flash. And I've now burnt 2 summoners, so a summoner in the top lane, summoner in the mid lane, summon a spell, and I have also stolen Kayn's red. And obviously I'm behind in farm, but what this has done is it's forced Kayn into a position where we know he's going to be. So we know that Kayn is almost certainly going to be in my bot side jungle, which means we've flagged Kayn's movements for the first 3 minutes of the game, but I've also influenced top lane. He ultimately goes on to win this lane and mid lane as well, because for the next 5 minutes of their laning phase, they don't have flash. And a Fizz into an Annie without flash and a Darius into a Sion without flash is really hard to do. And you can do this with any champion. Graves is not actually the best champion to do this strategy with. I've just shown you it as an example to show you how easy it is, even with champions that don't have CC. So ideal champions that can really abuse this strategy are, champions like Jarvan, Lee Sin, Vi, Rek'Sai, all those champions with high mobility and knock-ups inbuilt into their kits. So I hope you like this video, and I really want you guys to start trying this out in your games when you're playing jungle.